Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'll show you how to knit a scrunchie from any waste yarn you have. Let's not waste it and turn it into a beautiful project. It's perfect for those who just start knitting because it's a basic knit in the circle. I'll guide you all the ways through the knitting, so it would be simple and anyone can knit it. You don't need any experience. I'll show you step by step everything you need to know, and I'm sure you'll manage. But if you have some struggle, you can always drop me a comment below and I'll try to help you as best as I can. That's a perfect scrap yarn project in my opinion. You can do color matching with the bigger object. For example, knit scrunchie in the same fabric as your sweater or cardigan, and it would look so fancy and pulled together, I think. Let's get it started. For our work we need yarn, of course. Use any scrap yarn you have. Here I have brushed alpaca silk from Drops. You can use silk mohair if you wish to have similar fluffy texture. You can use two threads, for example, or you can use merino wool or pretty much any combination of the wool leftover waste yarn you have. It is a perfect waste yarn project. And for reference, that's what I have in this yarn. So it's 140 meters per 25 grams. And they recommend using needles number 5. I'll be using needles number 4. Feel free to use any yarn you have, but just in mind that if your yarn is thinner, it most likely you need to cast on more stitches. If you use thicker yarn, then you need to reduce stitches. Also we need of course needles. As I mentioned, I'm using 4 millimeters needles. The length is optional. You can use any length you have. I'll be knitting in the circle using magic loop. It doesn't matter that much, but if you have a smaller length of the cord, then use that. Also we need just one marker to put in the beginning of the row. We need measuring tape. It's also optional because the taller you need your scrunchie, more volume would be, so it depends on the look you want to see. And it's not, you can do without measuring tape. I'll show you when I'll be done with my knitting how it will look, and you can decide for yourself if you want to go for less or for more. So it's optional. Of course we need a hairband for this project. I only have a black one at home. I prefer to use a new one so it's not stretched yet. The longer my scrunchie will be functional for me. Also, tapestry needle will be sewing up in the end our scrunchie, and scissors. Happy knitting, guys! Let's begin by casting on 77 stitches on the needles number 4, or you of course, if you use thicker yarn, use appropriate needles. You may just use the suggested one on the package, or go size down if you want it to look a little bit thicker. I'm using a long tail cast on. I hold my yarn like this. If you completely new with casting on, I have a tutorial on my channel where I go in depth how to cast on, but quick reminder, I place one needle like this, it doesn't matter which end of the needle, and then I get under and also pull the second thread, and here I have 2 stitches already formed, and now I'm just repeating the motion and casting on 77 stitches. When I'll be done with that, I'll meet you guys there. I cast on 77 stitches. I just simply... Alright, now we're connecting our knitting in the circle. I do apologize, guys, it seems like my neighbor is doing some work and making some noises. Okay, we approximately roughly split our knitting like this, it doesn't really matter, and we pull it close to the ends of the needle to connect everything in the circle. The first round is the most difficult because the stitches are still quite tight after you cast on. Okay, now we're ready. Oh, I tied the knot, by the way. Alright, what we do now, we transfer the last stitch to the other needle, like so. And then I'll pull it through the first one. Okay, and then I tied my knitting a little bit. Here we go, we connected our knitting, and now we can start knitting in the circle. So the next one, we just pull in the upper needle. Now our scrunchie connected to circle, and don't worry if it looks a little bit smaller than you expected right now. It's just the first round, it will get bigger after we start knitting. And with this yarn, because it's fluffy, it might be a little bit difficult to see, but basically I just knit all the stitches. And yes, I'm using continental style. That's my knitting style. If you want to learn how to knit continental style, I have video tutorials on my channel about this. So I have all this knitting tutorials. If you're complete beginner, you can watch. There are a lot of different techniques. It looks a little bit unclear from this picture. Basically, I'm just carry on knitting in the round. Okay, finish this half. If you're completely brand new to knitting, that's how we knit in the circle knitting. So I started here, finish this half, and I pull my yarn like this, and this might be very tight still because it's just the first round. Don't be afraid, it's only for the first round. Okay, so that's the part I already knitted. And just make sure that there is no twisting going on. And carry on knitting to the end of this row. I finished the first round. If there is any twisting going on with your yarn, it is still time to fix it before we carry on. Just make sure that all the stitches from this cast on, that thicker ones, that they're all facing the same direction inside, and if something is twisted, you can still do something like this. See, now it's twisted, but don't want it twisted. So yeah, Just make sure that all your stitches facing inwards and nothing twisted. Now it's time to put the marker. A working thread should be on the other needle. So now we pull inside the other. Maybe this needles are a little bit tight for this yarn. So if you have size 4.5, best to go for that. I place the marker, pull the needle, and start working on the second row. Just make sure that the yarn attached to the other side. And now we're knitting approximately 10 centimeters. It's also up to you. If you want your scrunchie to be more voluminous, you can knit a little bit longer. If you want it to be thinner, then you should knit a little bit less. I knitted approximately 9 centimeters of the scrunchie main body, and to decide if it is desirable look, just simply fold it and see if you like it a little bit taller. So you just need a little bit longer, so it would look something like this. And for me, I don't like very big scrunchies, so that's perfect. Now it's time to bind off. Alright, first stitch we need, and then second we need as well, and then second stitch we slip through the first one, and then repeat to the end of the round. This is basic bind off we're using now. Knit and slip it through the first one, and that's creating bind off. Last 2 stitches. So we bind off, and now I would recommend you to make a longer tail here, so we will use it to sew up our scrunchie. Just make sure that you're actually cutting not this attached thread, but the running one. Now we want to take our scrunchie inside out. Okay, put like so in the middle. Now we want to find the threads. You can tie it a knot. Also put a marker somewhere here to make sure that it's aligned. Okay, so we want to grab this sides, like you see, this is our knit row, so we want to grab the sides of this knit row. Make sure that it's what you're pulling upwards. and then you pull the thread through, and you take as your orientation point this thread over there, and do the same here close to the thread. You want to find the same road of the knit stitch. Yeah. Then you take another one. Here I have a little bit of gap because it was in the middle of the split of the needles, but that's okay. So now this one is a little bit smaller, but still make sure that you grab in the upper with two sides, so it's the same, and then you can see where the second the third row. Again, I pull up both sides of the stitch, and do exactly the same on the other side. It's a little bit tricky to see with the fluffy yarn, but I'm sure you'll manage. That's the seamless stitch we get in the end. And of course, guys, if you have some other preferred method of sewing up, feel free to use it. Pretty much done here. The few stitches left to pick. Up. It's formed a little bit bigger because it was in the section where the needles was turning, but it's okay. It's not that noticeable in this fluffy yarn. So now we're pretty much done, and last one. Now I'll just hide my thread somewhat like this, and I pull it very tight and cut it short, so when I release it's not sticking out. And I'll also hide this thread with the same technique, but this time I'll just go in different direction and just put my needle somewhere here. Just pull the thread. You see, it's like gathered together, this fabric, and then I cut very close to the thread and I release, and here we go. Our scrunchie is done. So you can either leave it like this, or you can just turn this side where we was doing stitches. We can just pull it inside. Yeah, That's how it looks. It's also possible to knit a little bit longer, cast on more stitches, for example, and then it would be more fabric around. For me, it's plenty. You may just cast on 100 stitches if you want it to be more voluminous, or if you use a bigger yarn, just keep the same amount. You can use double threads, and happy knitting, guys!